Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to Newbies to Movies. I'm Tyler,
And I'm Justin.
and this is a podcast where we like to talk about new movies that we're watching. And this week we got a guest, Madison. It's their second time on the podcast itself. Excited about this week to talk about some Christmas movies. First, we want to get started with what have you guys been watching in the past week? Madison, if you want to start.
I've been rewatching Stranger Things. I'm on season 3, and then I've been catching up on Abbott Elementary, and then I just watched the movies.
Awesome. Yeah, we actually came out to visit Tyler in Las Vegas, and then we got sick right after. So in that time, I watched 8 different movies. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I watched Mickey 17, Warfare, Heat, The Big Short, Good Will Hunting, Prey, Dead Poet Society, and Black Klansman. My mind is like mush right now. There's a lot of different movies and a lot going on in all of those movies, but it was cool. It was basically just a list of movies that I had been meaning to watch, just never got around to or never did them on the podcast. So I don't think any of them were below 4 stars for me on Letterboxd, which was pretty good too.
Yeah, that's a good run of movies to just watch like within a week.
Yeah.
Because that's insane. He is like one of my personal favorite movies. Like you can see it right behind me. So I know you watched it on a plane, which doesn't give it the best justice because the shootout scenes are just insane and so loud that like if you watch it like on a big TV, or I want to see it in the theater at some point if they ever rescreen it, just because I think it would be so cool.
Yeah.
One of the movies I watched actually 2 nights ago was The Housemaid, a new one with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried. Or Seyfried. I came in with the lowest expectations because I was just like, this looks like a trash movie. But I was like, I kind of want to see it just to see. And it kind of blew me out of the water of like my expectations itself. I still think it was like a 3.5, 4-star movie. So nothing crazy insane. But I came in with like, I thought it was going to be the worst thing ever. And it actually had a couple of twists. Even though I saw them coming, I still thought it was pretty well done. And Amanda Seyfried is like a really talented actress. So I was really impressed by her. Almost every movie I see with her. It's really cool. So yeah, this week we are doing Christmas movies. So basically we'll just talk a little bit about what Christmas movies mean to us. Yeah, just starting again with Madison, just like what does Christmas movies mean to you and how do you like feel warmth for it?
Christmas movies to me they just mean happiness. Like they're always just like so fun and lighthearted, and there's always like a good happy ending. Yeah, there's some twists and turns usually, but in the end they're all like just so fun. And a lot of them are like, I cherish them because I grew up watching them. So I enjoy a Christmas movie because they're just so fun.
Yeah, and I think,
What about you, Justin?
heading into Christmas, starting like early December, late November, watching them, it just helps you get into the spirit of the holiday so much. You oftentimes see so many themes of, caring and loving your neighbor, which I think is important year round. But the movies really help you get in that spirit for that month and a half or so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Christmas movies are just overall really warming movies, and just makes you feel cozy. I will say like the plot sometimes goes out for a lot of Christmas movies just because, but like the fact that it is like centered around like caring and all that kind of stuff and giving nature, it kind of just goes out. There's some really like famous ones back in the 80s and the and 2000s. Now the newer ones, I feel like they just try to do more twists on these kind of ones. And I think one of the movies this week was more of like a drama and really like focused around characters rather than like the Christmas theme itself. While like the other movie that we watched this week, Klaus, was more so like a traditional Christmas movie sense where it was super warm. So yeah, this week we did The Holdovers, came out in 2023. And then we also did Klaus, which I think came out in 2019. Maybe, and directly to Netflix. So a Netflix directed movie that was animated, and I had never heard about this movie before, so I was kind of pleasantly surprised with how it came out. But Justin, if you want to take over.
Yeah. So getting into this movie, Madison actually picked both of our movies this week for us. So I will say great job just right off the bat. Getting into this movie, I didn't know much about it. I figured, with the name Klaus, it had to be some sort of like Santa origin story. And it was great at that. It really dove into the Nordic ties of how Santa came to be instead of kind of like the commercialized, I guess you could say Coca-Cola version that we know today. So, really about him being a toy maker. It follows Jesper, who is a kind of selfish postman at the beginning, who was being punished by his dad. and then gets sent to the island to, start up his own postal service on that island with a town that basically everybody hates each other, always fighting all the time. Nobody goes to school, nobody works. They kind of just, live to fight. And, he really starts kicking it off with Klaus as they realize that one, children really do want to change and they want to, grow different from what their parents are doing. Two, that, everybody needs toys. Everybody needs something that keeps them happy in life. And so seeing them kind of team up and work together to break down the town's feuding and birthing what we know as today as like modern holiday traditions was pretty cool. So I gave the plot a 9.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting how throughout the movie, at first, like Jesper was like a very felt selfish, self-centered person that was like super rich, but also spoiled. And then he got kind of put out there, and then it's still all about him until like a little over halfway in the movie. I still think he's like still self-centered, just wants to get out of there, and you can see it just kind of switch up for him as well. What do you think, Madison?
I thought it was good. Honestly, when we first started watching it, I immediately thought it kind of reminded me of like Emperor's New Groove in a way, of where Jesper's like this selfish, everybody does everything for me. And then he gets put in this terrible situation and then has to kind of adapt to that. And then Klaus is kind of like the big guy. Like, it was just reminding me of that. I thought the story was good though, like, and how it played out. And we saw how he developed throughout the movie and things like that.
That's interesting compared to Emperor's New Groove, especially because I think the animation style was very similar as well.
I was going to say that as well. It really gave like that late 80s, early 90s Disney animation, that it was like exactly that.
So I actually looked it up. The director of the movie, Sergio, who was actually a Disney animator, and he wanted to prove that traditional 2D animation could still feel like cinematic and modern, because Disney really does 3D digital stuff now rather than the more 2D thing. More than the 2D animation nowadays. So he wanted to say, hey, like, I can go up against Disney on my own with Netflix and make this fantastic movie without them.
Yeah. I also saw that because he worked on Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Tarzan, and Treasure Planet. And then this is like his first movie that he just did it all by himself, like director, writer, and producer. And before that, he like wrote for Despicable Me and Smallfoot. So I thought that was also really interesting.
Yeah. And then getting into characters, I gave it an 8. I thought all the characters in this were really good, especially the side characters. I thought were pretty amazing, to bring out people like, the feuding families who came together. Those characters were funny, but also you had like the teacher who really had a good plot in that too. Not only talking about just like, these Christmas traditions and stuff, but like the importance of education for children, being able to read and write, especially where it's not always accessible, like in a town like that. I thought all the characters were really fleshed out and great. I never felt like any like low hanging fruit or, just like poorly written characters in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think like Alva was like a standout character for me. Every time she was like in the movie, I really was interested to like see more about her. But I think they dove just enough for her. And then you could feel like how they felt betrayed by Jesper at some point, even though like all along I had a feeling that he changed his heart anyways. And he didn't even want to go back. Like I saw it.
Yeah.
I think most people probably saw it coming that he was going to stay, but like they were still judging him really hard about it. Who's your favorite character, Madison?
I honestly really like the kids because like they kind of were learning to be different than what they had known. Like they developed by themselves because they saw, oh, like if we write a letter, we'll get a present. And if we do good things, we'll get a present. So I kind of really liked the kids and how it was more so like the kids also were kind of bringing everybody together. I mean, I think the main characters, like they were great too, but I really liked how they incorporated like all of the kids in the town and things like that. I really enjoyed that part.
The little girl was like a really standout too, because she really brought them together as well and like helping. And then like Loki turned to like Jester's like good friend because they were just like talking.
Yeah. I really liked Klaus in this. Obviously, we know like so many interpretations of Santa Claus, but seeing why he cares so much about kids is something like I don't think we ever really see. It's just always like, yeah, he's the one that makes, the elves make the gifts and then Santa delivers them on Christmas. But like, no, seeing like the true backstory about why he cares so much about these kids is because, he felt like they're all his kids. He never got the chance to have his family like he wanted. So he's making everybody his family, which was so deep and emotional, I think, and really well portrayed in this movie.
I agree.
And then getting into cinematography, I know this goes more into editing, but kind of what Madison was talking about with the animation, it was pretty amazing in this. So it was 2D animation, but what they did was they layered over 3D models with CG lighting to really give, that 3D effect. I can think of a few scenes when it comes to shadows that really gave it that depth and made it feel like it was a 3D picture, but really just 2D. I thought it was really well done and integrated into that world pretty well.
Yeah, I think we already went into it a little bit
Yeah.
how this looked very like 90s style of animation. Some kind of movies that we grew up on when we were younger, and now it's like more 3D, I would say. But I thought it was really interesting, thought it was really cool, like the different body shapes, abnormally big people with small mouths, like all that kind of small things that makes you like feel like a kid again while watching it.
And then for dialogue, I gave it an 8. My favorite line was from Jesper. I think he repeated it a couple of times, but it was a true selfless act always sparks another. And we saw that portrayed throughout the plot multiple times. Just doing something selfless for somebody will then make them act selfless as well to somebody else or even back to you.
Yeah, for me, like the dialogue in animation movies always isn't like something I can really point out all that well, just because I don't know, maybe I'm just like catch more about like the different actions that happen within the animation. But that line definitely stood out to me with how like selfless acts for each other. Like the families started off with like giving each other berries and then cake and all that. They're still like angry at each other, but then it turned into like little book clubs and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was like really cute way to like bring it all together. What about you, Madison? Do you think any like lines that you would like call out or?
Not really. Like the one Justin said, like about how like one thing can like spark like acts of kindness. I really liked that, how they kept reiterating that throughout the film and how that was kind of one of the main points of the movie.
And then getting into set design, gave it a 9. But this is going into animation again. I thought the set design was pretty stunning, with beautiful landscaping. Obviously, early in on the island, it's very dark and everything like that. But I think specifically in the scenes where Klaus is, kind of seeing that shimmering light, which is his wife talking to him, I thought those were so beautifully done.
Yeah, like the beginning of the movie, like the village or Smearsburg looks very like ugly, dark, scary kind of thing. And then like the movie ends with like overseeing like the village now, and it's like bright lights and like beautiful landscape to it. So I thought that was like a good before and after like look at how different it was.
And then the acting, I thought the voice acting was really good for all characters. I think they, used emotions well when speaking. Obviously with animation, it's a little bit easier to get that emotion across because like you talked about, you can kind of do crazy things with the mouths and stuff like that. But I think they set the tone really well.
Yeah. It's funny that J.K. Simmons plays Klaus in this, and then like in another movie he actually plays Santa Claus. So it's just interesting to see him be like an actor for it, but then also a voice actor for it. And then Jason Schwartzman was really good as well as Jasper. And Rashida Jones, I can just recognize her voice from like watching The Office and Parks and Rec. So once I heard her voice, I just take it with who it was right away.
Matt, who did I say I thought it was? I thought it was like Scarlett Johansson or something at first.
Yeah, I think that's.
I don't know why. I knew the voice too, but I just couldn't like point it.
Yeah.
And then getting into directing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I think just because I watched Office way too much and Parks and Rec, I was just like, Rashida Jones.
Yeah.
100%.
And then getting into directing, I think we talked about it a little bit already, but Sergio Pablos, his directorial debut, I think he told the story well in a well-paced manner. Obviously, he's coming from that, animation design background. So it's kind of cool, I guess, to see him, take his own wings, take his own step. And I think he did a great job, one with the animation, but two at the overall pace of the story and, telling that.
Yeah, he's interesting because he doesn't have anything in the works right now, but he's from Spain and now he's like a CEO of like his own animation studio. So I guess that's probably why he doesn't have anything planned in the future, just because he's probably doing the business side of stuff. But I do think it's interesting. But he came to California to do like his own animation. That's where he got his schooling before he went into Disney and Illumination.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool what Matt was talking about. He's kind of like, taking it to Disney, saying like, just because, the technology's here to move into 3-dimensional animation doesn't mean you can't also tell a story using the 2D animation, which is cool.
I think it's also interesting that he like a big thing of pop culture he added was Despicable Me. Like he was a part of like the first one, and he's like the whole thing that why it started. Like he wrote it, he created it, but he hasn't worked on any of them since the first one. So I thought that was also interesting that that's what he started.
And then the soundtrack, I thought it was good. It used music to kind of display the motion and carry the plot points. I gave it a 8. Nothing in particular too amazing, but I think the points where it needed music was good. You know, the points where it was just dialogue was fine too.
Yeah, I thought like overall, like it was very similar soundtrack to the whole movie until he comes up with like the naughty or nice list, like, and then it plays like a more beat style, like today's kind of music. And I was like, that feels like out of this movie. Like that came out of nowhere. But I thought it like added something cool to it that I was like, oh, interesting. That was something new. Like, because the rest of the movie is very similar other than.
And then for theme, I gave it a 9. Obviously, it had themes of redemption and selflessness, and overall community, just showing how simple acts of kindness can really transform, you know, feuding towns and creating, you know, friendship town. And then obviously we get to see the lore of Santa Claus from the beginning and just overall human connection and love, especially around the holidays.
Yeah. This is like a telltale like Christmas like theme movie where it's like all about like togetherness, caring for one another, selfless acts, which I really liked. And then, but it was really cool how like it then bought into the lore at the end of like, well, they never could find him, but then every Christmas he gets to see his friend. And I thought that was really cool as well. Yeah. What do you think, Madison?
I mean, we saw too, like Klaus, like he was grieving himself, even still, like we don't know exactly like when his like wife passed away, but like he was still obviously hurt and grieving by it. But like we saw like how toy making kind of helped keep that love like for, you know, his wife alive kind of, and like the family he didn't technically have. Like he just kind of continued to keep that joy alive for himself. And I think that was something really nice. And then again, with like the families feuding, like I don't remember exactly, but I don't even think they really knew why they were feuding. Like they went down like the little hall of like their families and all of this stuff. And it was just like, well, we've just been feuding forever, but we don't know why.
Yeah.
So it's like they lost the original meaning of what was going on.
Yeah. And they had like control over their clan people. So that's why they wanted to fight like the togetherness, because they wanted just control over everyone. And once they were starting to lose control, that's why they were still being like trying to start stuff. But then Klaus was smart enough to like just bait them with some fake stuff, just the fake toys.
And then for editing, I gave it a 10. Obviously, this is leaning heavily on the animation, but throughout the whole movie, I thought the scenes were edited well together as well. We kind of already talked about it, you know, just using that 2D design and then the 3D lighting and texturing over top of it to really make it, you know, add depth in the shots and make it feel like a bigger world than it actually is. I thought it was really great.
Yeah. It always interests me like how they combine it and with like voice acting and all that, and also how voice actors even do it in the first place, because they're like in a studio and they're trying to act out like running scenes. They're like on the run or like scared, and it's like it's just so interesting to like watch them actually do it too. If you watch videos, people trying to do voice acting, some of them get really into it, and those are usually some of the best ones that turn out.
I think of those videos of I can't think of his name, the guy who plays Rocket. He gets really into it. And Guardians of the Galaxy. I know it's not animation, but he's
yeah, Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper.
He gets so into it, dude. I love watching his videos doing Rocket because I don't know, the voice doesn't even sound like Bradley Cooper. Like he changes his voice and everything.
No, if it didn't show up like as Bradley Cooper right at the beginning of each movie, I would have had no idea. Like, well, Vin Diesel on the other hand, now they bring up Guardians of the Galaxy. One of the funniest things is like every single time he says Groot is a different time. They don't just like replay anytime Groot. So he literally just stands in the studio saying Groot like 100 and something times.
Yeah.
Funny.
And I'm like,
so yeah, to wrap it up, overall score, I give it an 8.6 out of 10 or 86. Really high movie for me. I went in with low expectations, just because I didn't know much about it. But now that I got to read about it and watch it this week, I realized like people were really on top of this movie when it came out and they really loved it. And I don't know what took me so long to watch it, but I'm glad I did. And it'll definitely be a classic for the next couple of years.
well, yeah, for sure. I rated it 8.2 out of 10 or 82 out of 100. Pretty high for me. Madison was under the belief that I hate animated movies, like animation
really
movies for the
thought you
longest time.
did. I was
It's
so
just not like one of
worried.
my, it's it's just not one of my top categories. Like if I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh yeah, let me choose an animation movie. But like, I don't hate them. Like I went to go see Inside Out on opening weekend. So like,
You did tell me that. I didn't know that.
yeah.
No, it's funny because like
so
I'll mention like an animated movie and she'll be like, Tyler probably hates that. And I'm like, Tyler doesn't hate animation. He's just not like,
I didn't know. I
yeah.
really thought you did not like animation movies.
No.
That's why I kept reiterating. It has really good reviews. It has won awards.
And I was like, yeah, I believe you, but yeah, it was nominated for Academy Award too, so that's pretty cool. It didn't win. I actually don't know.
yeah, I did
I
see
think
it
when
was
I was looking
nominated,
at
but I didn't know what for.
But I think I was looking at the rewards. I think they were like British rewards. Like I don't think they were anything from like America. They were like overseas.
They were nominated. It was nominated for an Oscar, but it lost to Toy Story 4.
Really?
I won't respond to that. I hate Toy Story. I don't hate Toy Story 4. I just think it's I don't know why they keep making them. They should have just left it at 3.
It was a great trilogy.
Real.
The animation in Toy Story 4, it looks really cool. It looks like super realistic, but it's also like the story makes zero sense. Yeah. What's your
Toy
rating
Story
for the movie,
5's
Madison?
coming out. What's my favorite what?
Well, what's your rating for the movie?
I didn't actually have a rating, but I would probably just overall give it like a 9 out of 10. I really liked
9 out of
it.
10. So the next movie that we did was The Holdovers. Quite a switch up of the kind of movies from like 2 way different types of movies. Like this one is a very drama focused, dialogue focused movie. It's really just based around 3 characters, with one of them being the head chef at this like boarding school ish. Yeah, boarding school like in the 70s. It's set in the 70s. And then a professor, like one of the strictest professors for the boarding school, and then a student that's left over. And his parents aren't involved or like pick him up for the holidays. So yeah, just getting right into it. At first, it's like there's a bunch of students that are, it's called the Holdovers because that's what they call them when they aren't picked up for Christmas. And it's like 6 of them at first, but then one of them has a really fit, rich dad that takes a bunch of them away, but they need their parents' authorization. And his parents just didn't agree to it or just didn't answer. They weren't even available. For Angus Tolley is like the student character. I thought this was really interesting because I don't think I've seen very many drama Christmas movies that really don't have much comedy in it. Like there's some kind of funny parts, but overall really not. It's like really deep conversations.
Yeah, I think like the only comedy I really took away from this was like really dark comedy. Like I think of the scene when they left the party and she's crying and then they're really all just like drilling into each other. Like that was funny to watch, but I mean, it was like mean, like it was like rough. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then like Paul Giamatti's character, like the whole time, it was very like, he was like kind of making fun of him. Like Angus Tolley, like constantly making fun of him. He's like, you got a certain smell to you. And then he's like, no, this is actually why. And it's like, that actually sucks.
It's like, which eye should I look at?
Yeah. I did think it was interesting how like they counted like, each of the days like that they were all together. And then, like, I don't know if it's like a twist at the end of the movie for me, but like you can see like the character's development of like the professor from like the beginning being like super strict and then kind of being easing up on like rules and all that, opening up more about himself. And then he says he loves like the place that they're at. I think it's Barnum College or something like that. And then it ends with like him like pretty much purposely losing his job, like to save the kid from like going to a really bad place. So I think that is really interesting. I gave the plot a 9 out of 10 because I thought it was a really interesting way of like storytelling, really focused on just like 3 characters just talking like the entire movie. Very deep conversations that like kind of lead to like more insert about like what their life is. You got like a grieving mother, like a depressed kid, and then you got a guy that just never got to the potential that he saw himself being able to do. What do you guys think about other parts of the plot?
Go ahead, man.
I really enjoyed this movie. Honestly, I was kind of iffy about it. Like, I didn't know if just basing off the cover, if it was like something that I would like enjoy or typically watch. But then we did watch it, and I really enjoyed it. And kind of blew me away with like how everything took place and how the story developed. And I really loved seeing like Paul and is it Angus like bond throughout the entire movie, and then you had like parts with Mary and all of them bonding, and it was just really nice to see. Like, you never like the whole thing was like, I liked how it was like you might not really know what someone has going on. We might just see what's on the outside. Like, I really liked that throughout the whole entire movie.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw that between all 3 of the characters, right? You know, with the kids kind of judging her as like this crazy mom who just lost her son, and she's still really holding on to that. And then obviously we see the kids, making fun of Paul Giamatti's character for just being a strict a-hole basically, but also the adults too. We see them looking at the kids and just calling them assholes all the time. Like they don't really know what these kids are going through either. And I think that was, one of the best plot points in this movie is really, rather than just, it's kind of cliche, but judging a book by its cover, really getting to know what's going on with the people around you.
Yeah, there were like multiple times throughout the movie that somebody would say something towards the other, but then they'd counter and be like, well, this is why. And then it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have like judged them that certain way or said that.
Yeah.
And getting into characters, I gave it 8 out of 10. I thought they were all very interesting. I think the acting was really well too, but just like diving into them, how Angus totally like obviously a kid would be messed up after like a mom pretty much gives up on the father after he kind of just goes crazy out of nowhere. I mean, it's like an actual disease, but it just seemed like it just uprooted his life. And then his mom wants to start a whole new life without even like talking to him. And the only time that she cares is when he gets in trouble, but doesn't even acknowledge whenever he does something good.
Yeah. The characters are really drawn out, especially the main three, which I think is great, especially in a movie like this, diving so much into mental health on all three of them. I think they just drew them out perfectly. I mean, each one of them had their own individual story arcs throughout this. And, we see that with them going to Boston. Each one of them was kind of there on their own mission. Even though they went together, it was really drawn out and done well.
Who's your favorite character, Madison?
Honestly, I really enjoyed Paul, like the professor. I thought like he was like strict, but I think he like had his like funny moments, and I really liked watching him truly develop throughout the film, like and just like learning about him. Like from the first time he watched like that show with Mary on the couch, he's like, I don't watch TV. And then you just kind of see him like every day just sitting there at the end of the night with like a drink, and he's just sitting there like enjoying the shows. And I just like, it was really nice to like watch him, especially like understand Angus better and like, oh, like these kids really, do go through things and are struggling just like I might be. Like one of my favorite scenes of Paul is when they were in the motel and Angus is getting up to change and he like drops his prescription. And then he was like, oh, like I know what this is. It's for depression. And then he like goes over and like literally has the same prescription, but for himself, and like takes his medicine. I think that was like cool to see. And then again, like at the end, like he just changed his completely demeanor and is like, no, like Angus is smart. He deserves to be here. Like he's phenomenal. It was like, and he just took all the blame. And I just thought that was great to see. And like, I just really liked his character.
Yeah, he like definitely softened up about it and like his whole approach. And like throughout it, he also saw like he's telling this kid that he's got so much potential. He also saw it in himself being like, why am I like just lowering myself to like lower expectations of what I should do? And I think the final scene really is one, saving Angus, but also saving himself in a sense of being like, I need to get out of here. Like I can't just stay here where I got something above my shoulder. And it's really just like hindering like what he's capable of doing, and then just going out on an adventure because he's like, I don't know what I can do, but let's go see. Because clearly whatever's here is not working for me.
That was a really beautiful thing. And then obviously Mary giving him the book. I think my favorite was probably Mary. I just want to say this real quick, just like how she, was kind of like a grieving mother, but by the end of the movie, she was like a loving aunt. I thought that was a really beautiful thing and so well done by the actor. She did a great job kind of portraying all those emotions.
Nice. She got a lot of praise as like an actress for this movie, which we'll get into once we get into acting. For cinematography, I gave it a 10 out of 10 because I thought it was really cool how it like gave that 70 vibe through like the lenses. Like the opening scene for the movie itself, I thought was like a 10 out of 10. I was like, oh wow, this is really cool how they're setting this up to be, and the whole movie set like that. Yeah, I haven't really been able to like look into like how they did it, but definitely gives me some like nostalgia vibes. What do you?
There was one scene while we were watching and I looked at Matt and I paused it and I was like, this is exactly what cinematography is right here. So Paul Giamatti, they're in the store and he's with Angus, and Angus is like drilling him with questions, asking him about his career. And Paul is doing circles around the same aisle. Like he's just doing circles around the aisles. But at the same time, he's doing circles around the questions that Angus is asking him. And as you're doing it, the camera is also like moving circles around with him. And I was like, Matt, this is exactly what cinematography is. It's using camera to also put into your head and reiterate the idea that he's jumping around his past. I thought that was such a great scene, but there was plenty in this. Whoever the cinematographer was for this did an amazing job.
Yeah, it was really, that's a cool scene to point out. And then also like the scenes where like it spans out whenever like they're outside or something like that. Like specifically when he's running after Angus and then it sees him like span out to like looking out through the big snow and all that. Yeah, the use of snow as like a plot point also I thought was really interesting. But once they go into city, it's not that they're like diving more into like each other's background while like the school is more so like bland with white. Kind of like how in Fargo they use snow also as like a plot point.
Yeah.
Pretty heavily. Getting into dialogue, I gave it a 9 out of 10. This movie is very heavily reliant on dialogue because it's a drama at the end of the day. But Paul Giamatti is very special in this, like all of his lines. I think he is a very underrated actor because he isn't what you think of when you think of like A-list actors or what he looks like. Because he isn't like the best looking dude, but at the same time, he really impressed me with this movie.
I agree. He did a great job in this movie, and kind of like you're saying, always like, I don't know why, I've just always seen him in kind of like dumb roles. Like he's kind of playing like dumb characters all the time. But this one, seeing him as like such a smart guy, like a book smart guy, but trying to figure out the world around him at the same time was really good. And he did a great job at portraying it.
And then getting into acting, I give it a 9 out of 10. I feel like this is a really hard movie to act when it's just 3 people and just constant talking and like dwelling environments where it's really quiet. I bet this is like super hard to like act, but I think they both, the two main, like the 2 adult actors, Divine Joy Randolph and Paul Giamatti, both got really recognized for this movie. Randolph pretty much running away with like every single accolade for that entire season, while Paul won a Golden Globe Award too.
Yeah.
But
even
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for that, this was like the year of Oppenheimer, so I can understand why Cillian Murphy won it over Paul.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just like that's a hard person to go up against.
Yeah.
Like one of the best movies of like this probably century. So, but still really good.
Dude, that's gonna cause drama on TikTok. Don't say that too loud. Even with Dominic Sessa, the child, I thought he played his role really well too. I know he kind of got outperformed by the other 2, but like that scene with his dad was rough to watch. And you really see the emotion with him as like such a, I don't know, like exactly how anybody would feel when their family like turned on them basically and just left him for dead basically. Like they didn't care where he was. They didn't even care to pick up the phone when the teacher called. He could have been dead in a ditch and they wouldn't even know it.
Yeah, he does a great job. And I just saw him like Now You See Me, Now You Don't, like the new like magic movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he was pretty good in that as well, playing like a more like rigid character, like more like to the point. Well, has a movie that's coming out there where he gets to play Anthony Bourdain. So I think that will be really interesting to see how he portrays that.
Is it like a biopic?
Supposed to be about, yeah.
That's cool. I want to see that.
Yeah. About like his younger life growing up and all that. Madison, do you have any standouts in the movie? Obviously, it's mainly 3 characters, but anything you want to point out?
I don't think so.
I do want to point out that one little a-hole kid. That guy was a dick. I think we all know who I'm talking about. I don't even remember his name.
It's funny at the end when he came back and you could tell where his ski goggles were and how his face was around. That was funny at the end.
Yeah. And then he brings up Icarus and then he just doesn't get the reference at all. He's like, what does that mean? And it's like, yep, of course you wouldn't know. I think at that point, Paul was just like, oh, let me quit the shot at this point. This guy doesn't even know who Icarus is. Yeah, he's about to go to Brown or something.
I guess I will like to add real fast. I kind of liked through the movie too, like between like I guess the acting and the characters or whatever, between Angus and Paul is like when they didn't want something to be said. I don't know how to pronounce the word, but like they would say that word and they'd be like, oh, it's forgotten. Like we don't know anything about it. I always like that too. Like through the characters.
The French word. I don't know. It basically means like it never happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like I think one of my shout out scenes for this would probably be like when they're in the museum and then he's like, oh, why would I? He's like, I don't really care about history. And then like Paul just goes into depth of why you should care about history and care about your past. that leads to your future. And I thought that was like a really cool scene to stand out from. Getting into sound effects, I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I think we've said it a good amount of times on this podcast that like, even though there's not that much music throughout the movie, it's good because I think if it's too much, it would take away from scenes. I like when it's quiet nature, especially if you're going to rely on dialogue so heavily that you don't have too much background noise. What do you guys think?
No, I agree. I know we've mentioned that a lot of times. I think, when there was music, especially I think about the scene where she got put in charge of the record player. That was very significant, right? That was some of the only music in the movie, but it was significant to her because it was her son's favorite song. And we kind of see her drinking away her problems in that scene. But I thought it was super well done.
Then getting into directing, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really well directed, just with a lot of like different shots, but also like with the dialogue, with the writing, really some good content to give these actors to really run away with like their performances.
Yeah,
So
I
you think
agree.
you
And
got
I think it was really well paced too. Like longer movie, but I never felt like I was kind of stuck on any one day. And I think, them breaking up the days like you were talking about, like the day counter of the vacation, it was pretty helpful to just to keep in mind the context of where you're at with Christmas and New Year's coming up as well.
He's come out with some other movies, and one of them that we did on the podcast really early, The Descendants. He also directed that movie.
Oh,
and I
okay.
see a lot of similarities to that movie and this one as well.
Yeah.
And like the writing and like the dialogue throughout it. Anything you want to point out with directing, Madison? Like cool things that you thought?
I don't really have anything to add. Sorry.
You're good. I'm getting into editing. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Again, like with these kind of movies, it's really hard to tell where they should edit stuff out or edit a certain way. But I thought like the camera shots were really cool to edit too. And then they also they shot it a certain way and then post shooting it. That's where they like kind of reverted it to look like 1970 nostalgia. So I thought that was really interesting as well to add to it because it was kind of it wasn't an afterthought. It's what you always wanted, but to like really rely on it after the fact is also a telltale sign.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that, but also I never like realized that, nothing stood out in a bad way. I guess I'd say like nothing stood out where I was like, oh, that looks like it was filmed somewhere now. Even the houses and everything, the dormitories, they look pretty old. So that's good.
And then for theme, I gave it a 8 out of 10. There's just a lot of themes about like, I think the base one is not judging people, actually getting to know people and more about them. But I think there's other themes about like regretting stuff, like having to move on, stages of like grief as well with the mom, with Mary. So what themes did you get out of this, Madison?
Kind of like, I guess not really, but like they almost had like a chosen family kind of thing. Like, yeah, they were kind of forced to be together, but they all kind of made it work. And by the end, they'd all kind of really bonded into this so-called family kind of situation. And I think that was really great to see. And then too, like the grief. And I think it did ideas of like mental illness and things like that throughout the film really well.
I think it brought up generational trauma pretty well too. Just talking about like, how Angus's dad was, kind of beating his mom, and that's why that was the turning point and why he got institutionalized, and then seeing Paul's character bring that up to him as well, like, hey, we've all been there kind of thing. But then you also see how like with Mary's character and how that's affecting her family. Not only like is now she's like naming her niece or nephew, that's going to be his middle name, but also just like she almost didn't even go over there for the holidays and how that's going to affect them as a family and also her.
No, yeah, there's like a lot of themes that are really like deep rooted throughout this movie that if you aren't really paying attention, you probably miss out on because especially if you're like, I don't know, if you're coming into this movie thinking that it's going to be like a traditional Christmas movie, don't. You have to like be pretty locked in to watch this movie. And it also like has some really sad parts. Overall, I would like highly recommend this movie for anybody. But if you are, you have to like really dedicate yourself. And it's not a movie that you could just like pick up and continue watching and stop it.
I think that's why I like this movie too, because it wasn't a traditional Christmas movie. Yes, it was like Christmas themed. There's like revolved around Christmas, but like it showed the other parts about Christmas and around the holidays, like the loneliness, what happens if someone's grieving or going through the holidays for the first time, people who do struggle with mental illness. And I think it was interesting to really see that viewpoint in a movie, in a Christmas movie, because you don't ever really see that with Christmas movies. You know, they're always fun and nostalgic and all that thing. I just think it was cool to see the other side of what somebody else might be going through in a different sense during this time of the year.
It reminds me of
Yeah.
The Humans, which we watched for Thanksgiving. Not in the like,
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't say not in like the theatrical sense, because that's like a really, really dark movie, but it just took what would normally be like a bright, happy holiday and kind of turned it on its head and really discussed like the underlying issues that could be going on with people.
Yeah. It's definitely like kind of more happy ending towards, but there still is like real no resolution for any of them. It's like she's still grieving. He still like isn't accepted by his family or loved really by his family. But then he has somebody that stood up for him. And then the other guy, and then Paul is just like going on a different adventure of his life. And it's not like a traditional Hollywood ending, I would say. There's still stuff to be solved out for their lives, but that's real. It's just like how real life happens. Not everything's going to be solved within a couple of weeks. Overall, I give it 8.8 out of 10 or 88 out of 100. Pretty high rating for myself because I really like the performances in this. I think the acting and the cinematography are like the two things I would like to really point out throughout this.
Yeah, I gave it a 9. Definitely one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time now. Just because it's so real. Like we always just see kind of like the happy-go-lucky Christmas story, happy Hollywood ending. But this is really real, and it, touched really deep points. And I think the actors were great at portraying those points.
I gave this movie a 9 out of 10 as well. Like I said at the beginning, I didn't think I was going to be like, oh, this is fantastic. But I actually finished it and I was like, wow, I actually really, really, really liked that movie. And I'd probably watch it again many more times.
Yeah, I think I've been hearing about this movie ever since it first came out, about how good it was. And I just never got an opportunity to. I actually sit down and watch it. But I'm glad I did because it's really well talked about, really well received all across. I mean, it has 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is kind of insane. Cool. Now we're going to transition into our Christmas movie draft. I think this is going to be really interesting because I think there's so many options of like what we can choose, but then like a lot of like childhood favorites that I feel like we're going to steal from each other as well.
Yeah.
So
wait, I have a question.
Yes.
So like, say for like the comedy or something, you do like How the Grinch Stole Christmas. For iconic figure, you couldn't also do the Grinch, or
You could.
you? Oh, okay.
You could.
That's the only one.
Once you draft them, yep. Once you draft the other movie, like, so let's say in like the actual movie categories, once we get into them, if you draft the Grinch, then you can't draft no one can draft another Grinch movie in any of the movie categories, but you can still draft it in the iconic figure.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Sorry.
Yeah. So the categories are going to be box office over 100 million. There's a lot of movies that are actually available for this. Originally, I thought maybe 200 million, but then it'd be like 9 movies are available. And I was like, let's do 100 million. Drama, action, which I think should get pretty interesting, especially because there's like some movies in action that is it a Christmas movie? Is it not? Comedy, romance. There's so many rom-com movies that are centered around Christmas. I think Hallmark probably releases like 10 a year. It's actually insane.
Probably more.
They're all the same plot line too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's on at my house 20.
Yeah, I was about to say all the moms be watching it. So if you're listening, shout out to the moms
or the dads.
Keep them in business. The dads just be.
Shout out my dad. Like he keeps them in business.
He's just watching it. He's like looking from afar and he's like, oh, what are you watching? And then he just like ends up sitting down and watching it for the next 2 hours. And then a separate category of just animation. There's a lot of examples, especially in like the early 60s, 70s, about like some really classic animation movies. And then a kind of interesting one that I thought would be cool to do was a movie involving a Christmas scene. So it's not a Christmas movie, but it has a scene or two that involves Christmas themes, or even like the background is Christmas, but it's not a Christmas, which we can fact check it once we get to it. And then iconic figure. And like we just said, you can do an iconic figure and then still draft a movie later on with it, because that would be kind of dumb if we were like, oh yeah, I draft Santa Claus, but you can't draft any movie with a Santa Claus in it. Then it kind of just, all right. And then for wild card, just usual wild card, it could be anything from any of the other.
Cool.
So let's get into the random wheel generator.
I'll start.
Somebody on this podcast always wins, so that's always cool. And guess what? He wins it again.
I told
Yep.
you.
And then,
Gonna get last again.
yep. I get second pick, and Madison gets the last pick. Justin always wins it. I feel like it's not even random at this point.
Give me the Holdovers.
That's your first pick?
Yeah, drama action, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot already. I knew I had to get first pick if I wanted that one, or that was going to be gone. I'm just good. Drama is kind of tough for Christmas movies. I know you can go action now, but that then forces you to take movies like Red One, which are just terrible. So I'll take Holdovers.
Dang, already throwing some shade at some movies.
Yeah, I don't play.
Right off the bat. Right off the bat. All right. I had a feeling you were going to take the Holdovers right away. For my number one, I am going to take, for box office over 100 million. There's a lot available, but I'm going to go with the first Home Alone.
Yeah, that's good.
I really like Home Alone. It's like just up there. Like I watch it every single Christmas time. It's so iconic with like all its different scenes, the Wet Bandits, Kevin McAllister. Culkin, he finally got his life back together in the last 10 years. There was a rough patch there where he was really bad, and now he's married to London and Tippin from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yeah.
And they have a baby together.
Yeah, it's actually insane that like two iconic like kid actors are now married. But I love Home Alone. There's so many iconic scenes. So it's like, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Like, I love it. All right, Madison's your first pick. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to do box office over 100 million. I'm going to do Dr. Seuss, The Grinch 2018.
Best one.
I enjoy this movie a lot. I like the animation in it. I like the story. I like that it's not like, it is, but it's not like The Grinch that came out in the early 2000s. It's kind of has its own story. And I really like that. And I like the look, especially of Cindy Lou Who. I think she's so adorable. And Max, of course, too. I go again, right?
Yeah, but
okay.
I like the Grinch. I like the 2018 Grinch. It's not even close to the same one as like 2001. 2001 is very adult focus kind of Grinch movie. You have Jim Carrey also acting so well in that movie. It's actually kind of insane. And then you have like the OG one all the way back in like the 60s that like everything's based off of.
Okay.
So that eliminates all Grinch movies.
I'm going to go with non-Christmas movie, my scene or whatever. I'm going to go with The Nice Guys.
I did look into this one. I can attest for that.
I looked it up too because I wanted to make sure.
There is the final scene of the movie. They're at the bar having a drink, and it's Christmas time, which hilarious movie.
I don't remember that at all. I don't remember that at all. But I like the movie, though. Nice Guys is a really good movie.
Yeah, that's like a third round pick, though.
Yeah.
Listen, I was just making sure, okay? I took out the two I thought would be the hardest for myself.
Okay, so it's my second pick now.
You better take it.
So there's a lot of different things that I could take.
Yeah, you better take it.
Take what? What category are you talking about? What category are you talking about?
There's something sitting here, and I don't know how it's still sitting here.
I think I know what you're talking about. There's like two things that you could be talking about, which I think has the same actor. I'm going to take Elf and comedy and romance.
Yeah, glad you took it.
Yeah, I liked Elf a lot. It's so iconic. Again, Buddy the Elf, and it's so funny. I watch it every single Christmas. It's like Home Alone and Elf are my two favorite, or three of my two favorite. Like top three changes like every Christmas time, I feel like, but I like it so much. It's like, thanks, buddy. I hope you find your dad. And then like the gum scene, and then him jumping on the sidewalk in New York, and he's like, oh, he's a mean elf. Talking about Peter Dinklage, like that whole scene itself is so funny. And then a blonde Zooey Deschanel, which I was like, you see a new girl with black hair, but she's blonde in this one, so it's a little interesting as well.
All right. So for mine, I'm going to do comedy romance, and I'm going to take Christmas Vacation. Honestly, besides Holdovers, probably my favorite Christmas movie. I think it's just so funny. It's so well done. Just kind of all the vacation movies, but this one in particular stands out, I think, to most people just because of how well done it is. Just showing like a chaotic Christmas. It's pretty great. Let me see.
Yeah, I really like National Lampoons. It's like, again, that was like my third one in my top three. That Home Alone, Elf, and National Lampoons for me, it just switches every year of like where I rank the others. For me, they're like 5 out of 5 Christmas movies. You look at my letterbox.
I love the squirrel scene.
If you look at my letterbox right now, those are like the 3 of the top 4 right now for me.
I'm kind of tilting here on box office, but I just found one. It peaked at over 108 million I'm going to take Nightmare Before Christmas for box office.
Mm.
This
really
is one
like
of
this
my
movie.
favorites. I know this is also like a Halloween movie, but I love this story. I think it's really well done. I know Matt hates it.
I despise The Nightmare Before Christmas.
So creative. It's so well done.
It is very creative. Yeah, it
Like
is very creative.
Who would have thought to combine two holidays? I know it hints at multiple holidays in the show, but what a great way to bring holiday lore to children all around. Really get them to dive in and understand where the holiday stories all come from.
I do think it's interesting that this movie, like, is super, people that love it stand by it, and they're straight up just big stands for it. And then if you really don't like it, you're like really hate it. I'm like the middle. I'm like, I think it's all right. I'm not a big stand for it, but I'm also not like hating on it.
Yeah.
I think it's just about all right for me.
I don't
I'm
hate
surprised you
it.
took it in box office.
I just don't like it.
Yeah, well, I've already done drama and I didn't do animation. That's okay. I didn't have any more for box office.
My third pick now. I want to pick one that I think that you guys would go after. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do iconic figure, and I am going to take The Grinch for
Yeah.
iconic figure.
That's fair. That's fair.
It was between that and Santa Claus, obviously, but I think Santa Claus is kind of like a low hanging fruit for a
Yeah,
Christmas
don't take Santa Claus.
iconic figure.
I'm throwing hands.
Yeah. I think the Grinch movies, all three of them are really good that I've watched. I don't think there's another one I'm missing. There's probably different stories with it, but it's like 2018 one and then the 1960s one. My personal favorite is the 2000s one, but that's just because like that's what I grew up with, and I really love Jim Carrey in it, and it's kind of just nasty, but I kind of like it because it's nasty.
It was Tim Burton.
Was it?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I forgot who directed it, but I have 3 out of my 4 favorite Christmas movies of all time, so like I can't really complain at this point in the draft.
It was Ron Howard.
And for the Grinch, I'm specifically talking about the one from the 2001s Grinch.
That's what I'm thinking of. Screenplay written around Tim Burton, but due to scheduling conflicts, he got replaced with Ron Howard. That's why I was kind of thinking like the vibe really makes sense for Tim Burton. If you compare it to like the Batman movies and like the Penguin with Danny DeVito, dude, it reminds me so much of that.
I wonder how different it would actually be though if he actually like did the whole thing.
Yeah, he would have been like puking black stuff.
Yeah, and you'd have been like, all right, what are we doing here? All right, Madison.
I'm gonna go with comedy romance, and I'm gonna take 4 Christmases.
Never seen it.
I love this movie. You've never seen it, really?
No.
Guess what
It
we're
has
watching?
Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon in it. This is like a holiday staple for me. It's not like wouldn't say it's even like in my top 20 or 30 Christmas movies, but I somehow watch it still every Christmas just because it's like such an easy watch. It's also like a really good like something to just put on and you don't have to pay attention the whole time. And I think my favorite scene is like the scene with all the brothers with like John Favreau with it.
And then the
Tim
living room
McGraw.
like,
Yeah, and they're like hanging on to stuff. I think that's the funniest scene. I also really like Vince Vaughn. I think he's such an interesting comedy actor. I just watched a movie like 2 weeks ago, Nona's. That's about like these grandmas that started an Italian restaurant, and they're like got histories like Italian grandmas.
That's based on a true story.
It's based on a true story.
Yeah, it's based on a true story.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it. It's just like a feel good movie. Like if you want to like feel really good after watching it, highly recommend. I watched it in a hotel in California, and I was like, heck yeah.
Nice.
So what's your other
Okay.
pick?
I'm gonna do animation, and I'm gonna pick Arthur's Christmas.
God, stupid movie.
It's so sweet.
There's
I
way
watched
too
it
much
yesterday.
going on.
I watched it yesterday.
It's like
I will say
this,
Thursday.
this was pretty high up on my list.
the U.S. military overtook delivering presents. They have like fleets delivering presents.
That's the whole
Hey,
point of
man.
a movie. You're supposed to, if you watch the movie, you'll understand about more of it.
Maybe that's why I'm just sick of it. It's because you make me watch it every Christmas.
I've already watched it like twice.
It's on every time I come to your house.
It's,
That's crazy.
I love it.
And I will say this was number 2 on my list for animation, so it
Bro,
was pretty high up.
you guys are crazy. I'm going to wait on animation then.
I didn't even write anything else for animation. It was just Arthur's Christmas.
Oh my God.
Now I wish I would have taken it and then made you like tilt and just be like, oh God, what am I going to draft?
I would have figured it out.
I like it. I don't think it's like something crazy, but cool. So it's mine now. And where do I want to go? I just really don't see you guys taking my drama action. And then
If it's red one, you can have it, pal.
you already know it won't be red one for me. I am not a red one stan. Yeah.
Can it come out
I'll
with
just leave it
red
at
one
that.
in his wild card? Watch.
Yeah, better watch out. Yeah, for animation, I'm gonna go with Klaus. I
Did
really
you guys
like
forget about all the animation movies?
there's so many. That's why if Wild Card's available, I wouldn't be surprised if I take one of them there. But I am gonna take Klaus because I really like the story, and it's really surprised me this week how good it was. It is a newer one. Thought about doing a nostalgia pick, but I probably will for Wild Card. So we'll see when it gets to that place.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take it. I'll take Charlie Brown Christmas. Anybody? You know, every year in school they mandatory showing it to us. The
It
best
was
Christmas.
my number 5.
Actually, I've never watched this at school.
Dude,
What?
so good, so nostalgic, so nostalgic. Even our parents watched it.
It was always the
It
Polar
is super
Express.
nostalgic. It was. I'm sick of the Polar Express. I really
Yeah,
hope no
same.
one fucking.
And then
drops
I don't know how y'all left my goat Rudolph on the board. Give me him
that.
for
For
iconic
Wild
figure.
card. Oh, okay.
Just gonna leave the
And
goat out there like
which for which one?
that. Iconic figure.
I know, but like which movie specifically?
Rudolph
Which
the
Rudolph?
Red-Nosed Reindeer. I mean,
He's
you
in,
wouldn't
like,
leave
pretty much.
Lightning McQueen on the board. You wouldn't leave Michael Jordan on the board. You're leaving Rudolph out there.
I like the Grinch more. But anyways, I can't even spell reindeer. I give up.
I mean, when you're talking about goats,
He's good. He's good. Don't get
save
me wrong.
Christmas. What are you talking
He's
about?
good.
Save
Bernard.
Christmas.
Saved. All right. So for my other one, I don't know.
And you guys
I
stole it,
The rest.
and I saved it.
For my dude's just yapping now. For Wild Card, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah. I
You
used
can
to
choose
see
a
you
character. Yeah. No, it was my number 2 animation movie.
Yeah.
So like, I like it. I also like it. I don't reapproach it every single year because I think if I did, I would get really tired of it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a simple plot.
Yeah, super simple, but like super iconic story. It's between this and like another very like nostalgic one from like the same time, almost same animation style. And he's also in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Cool. Madison, you got 2 picks.
All right. I'm going to go with drama action. And I'm going to pick Violent Night.
Not Red
Did
One.
you watch that one?
No.
It's not like a great one,
It's with
but I
David
enjoyed
Harbour.
it. Yes. as Santa
It's actually
Claus.
pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
I liked it.
Like, dude, he's just beating
Judgy
up like German
McJugsters
people.
over here.
I like Violent Night. It is my number 4. Like it was in my short list. I like it.
I watched it for the first time like a couple weeks ago, and I really liked it.
I like it when you're just beating up like German people. I don't know. If German people are getting beat up, you got me.
Yeah.
They're not Nazis. They're just German.
It is a little it's a little gory once they
Yeah.
get going.
Which I think is awesome. I love gore.
I just don't like the scene with her hair, and it's like, yeah,
that's
that's the
awesome.
only thing I had to turn away for a second. I'm like, oh god.
Awesome. Give me that
Okay.
every day of the week.
I guess let me go with iconic figure, and then I'm gonna do Jack Frost, but from like the Santa Claus 3.
That's a pull, dude.
Yeah.
I really like him. It's Martin Short, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking like,
I really like
Yeah.
Martin. Is it no? I thought Steve Martin was the one with the glasses.
It's Martin Short.
Martin Short.
Yeah.
Well, I really like them from Only Murders in the Building, and obviously he's in Santa Claus 3. I really like him. He's my favorite.
That's just a crazy. Like Santa Claus 3 is just wildly known as like the worst one.
The
The other
Santa
2 are
Claus
just so much
franchise is
better.
the Santa Claus franchise is my favorite. It's one that I will watch 100 times during Christmas. Well, I was kind of getting confused, so I just kind of picked something that hadn't like I didn't know if I could be like Sidney Lou Who.
I mean, yeah,
I
could have.
yeah, Frosty.
I had
Frosty.
Frosty. I didn't know.
I was like, you got the you've been missing out on the number 3. Like we chose the top 2, but you forgot about
Scrooge.
Frosty.
I was gonna say Kevin, like I like wrote them on that. I was getting confused about that one, so I just like I'll just go with one that like not the movie hasn't been mentioned
The
yet.
Rock and Red One.
Just him, the bodyguard. All right. I'm gonna do movies with a Christmas scene, and I still think this is like one of the funniest scenes of like any comedy. Step Brothers. There's the scene of them like chucking the Christmas tree and the presents while they're sleepwalking, dude. It's so funny. Like Christmas is like barely a part of the movie, but like it's just like such a funny scene to look at every single time of them sleepwalking. I love Step Brothers though.
I've been waiting for this moment. I'm going to do my scene from a non-Christmas movie. Matt, do you want to say it for me? La La Land.
Did I text? My God.
He's playing in a bar and he's playing Christmas music, and then he gets fired for playing piano by J.K. Simmons.
Yep.
For playing his own music. Beautiful scene. Beautiful movie.
How do you always find a way to draft this movie? It's like
I think this is
the
only the
fourth
second time he's
time.
drafted La La Land.
Yeah,
No, this
it's
is
for
like
the
the-
meme now.
the third or fourth time because I keep writing it down. La La Land.
And then I think I'm on wild card now, right? Give me Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
That's a good one.
Have you guys seen
I
this
thought
one?
about it. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious that they just go to Earth and kidnap Kevin Bacon.
Hmm.
It's pretty
Well,
funny.
especially because Kevin Bacon is like such like a meme throughout like the first two movies.
Yeah.
And he's like, have you heard about Kevin Bacon, the savior? And then like they make this whole like short story about it. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I really hope he like comes back as like an actual character in like different movies. I mean, technically he's within like the universe because he's in X-Men,
Yeah.
like the Origins one or something like that. I forget
Yeah.
which one he was. But yeah, I just think that would be interesting to bring him back. Okay, so it's my last pick, and I had a feeling that no one was going to pick this just because, but it is literally like one of the classics. It's a Wonderful Life for drama action. I love It's a Wonderful Life. Such a good story. James Stewart. Pretty much a lot of people steal from this movie as well in different Christmas movies. It's just like looking back at like regretting your life and not appreciating people, and then like dreaming about something that and then it doesn't turn out the way you want, and then you come back and you actually appreciate your whole family. Have either of you watched this?
I haven't seen it. I thought you were
my
saving
God.
that category for Die Hard. I'm not going to lie.
I did
No.
too.
No, I don't mind Die Hard, but it's just not my type of action movie. I'm also not a big Bruce Willis guy. I don't know. Bruce Willis just doesn't do it for me. I think he's the weakness in Pulp Fiction. Hot take.
All right, so my last pick is Wild Card, and I know neither one of you have seen this, but I'm picking Eloise at Christmas time. I grew up
What
watching Eloise.
incarnation?
You don't know that movie? I told you none of you have heard of it probably, but like I grew up watching these movies, and I watch it every single Christmas. It's just something I enjoy watching.
Eloise at Christmas time.
This is an old movie.
She lives at the plaza. You can go to the plaza now, and like they have us like you can stay in her room. It's like all pinked out. Like you can get all like the Eloise treatment. She's like, I'm Eloise. I'm 6 and I live at the plaza.
Nice.
It's one of my listen, I like it, that's all that matters.
I don't know if anybody's gonna know what this movie is, to be quite honest.
The
I've
girls
just
will.
never heard about it. The girls will? Okay. I'll trust. All right. Do we want to do honorable mentions?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you got the main ones. I don't know how Polar Express is still out there.
I do not like Polar Express.
I'm not a
big
fan
advocate.
either. I just know it's a classic for a lot of people.
It's a classic, but I think for our age, for some reason, they thought every Christmas time, you know what people want to watch like twice, 3 times in school? Polar Express. No one wants to watch that movie 3 times in a row. It ruins it. I'm sorry.
And then you'd sit down and they give you the hot cocoa with like your little paper golden ticket that you filled out.
Yeah, with like a half slice of pizza, and you're like, well, but you can only take one. It's like, well, I'm going to be hungry the rest of the day. Who decided to do this?
I guess it came out in 2004, so that's kind of why it was like so heavy around when we were in like kindergarten, first grade, second grade.
Probably.
If somebody tells me Polar Express is their favorite movie, I don't trust that person usually.
Yeah. What we also had Red One,
Surprised it wasn't drafted by somebody.
Shrek the Halls, Frosty.
There's a lot of like DreamWorks, like Disney, like a lot of like Christmas specials. Like even for Halloween too. Like The Bad Guys has one. The Holiday.
From a scene from a non-Christmas movie, I had Iron Man 3 and Castaway also on my list.
Yeah, I saw Iron Man 3. Little Woman also did. I just got to shout out that movie. Love that movie. Mean Girls, also really iconic
Girls.
Christmas thing. Perks of Being a Wallflower, super sad Christmas scene in that movie. Super sad. Like he like doesn't get recognized until that scene. Jarhead, if you guys have ever seen it. If not, there's a really funny Christmas scene in it
I haven't
where
seen
they
it
like
yet.
accidentally turn off like the fireworks and all that stuff. I'll just start on because I got a bunch of them. Home Alone 2. I don't know if once I took the first one, if you could even draft the second one. I'm sure that's why you guys
Yeah.
didn't, or if
Yeah.
you just don't like it. Gremlins, also a very iconic Christmas movie. Santa Claus 1 or 2, also not drafted. I was surprised by. It's a little bit like outside my top 10 range. Die Hard, also not drafted. I already gave my opinion about that.
I've never seen it.
I don't think you're missing out, personally. Krampus, I personally really like Krampus. I think it's like a fun watch and also like an interesting character that doesn't really get into.
I saw that in theaters when it first came out.
I liked it. I think it's scary too. The Holiday, I really
have
like The
that.
Holiday. Yeah,
That
I
one's so
almost thought about
cute.
picking it. It has like Cameron Diaz, Jack Black, Kate Winslet, and who's the other person? Jude Law. Really good romantic movie. Love Actually too. That's another really iconic like romance Christmas movie. Christmas with the Cranks, another movie I watch every single Christmas time.
That one's
But it's
funny.
like more like of a background movie for me. Christmas Carol, I was also surprised wasn't picked. Another Jim Carrey movie.
I also like, I had The Last Holiday where she like thinks she's dying
Yep.
of cancer
I
and she
also had
goes
that.
like, yeah. I also had Candy Cane Lane. It came out like last year with Eddie Murphy. I also had Black Christmas on here as like a just in case kind of thing. And there's also that other like, it's kind of like Violent Night, but it's called Silent Night.
I
It's
haven't
kind of
seen
like
that, but I want to.
the same kind of, not really the same thing, but it's like, you know.
Wasn't Krampus?
The other guy isn't that.
Wasn't Krampus to Santa Claus's?
Yes, he was.
I was thinking about that.
Welcome home.
I can't remember.
Bad Santa, also. I think that one's really funny with Billy Bob Thornton. Christmas Chronicles on Netflix. The first one's really good. The second one I really don't like. Just Friends, Ryan Reynolds, more of a comedy. And then Deck the Halls with Danny DeVito and Matthew Broderick, the guy that's in Ferris Bueller. But yeah, there's a lot of Christmas movies on that were available. I'm really happy with my list. We can go over the teams real quick too. So for my team, box office over 100 million, I got Home Alone, drama action, It's a Wonderful Night, or It's a Wonderful Life, a comedy romance, Elf, animation, Klaus, movies with a Christmas scene, Step Brothers when they're sleepwalking and just start chucking it at their parents, iconic figure, The Grinch from 2001's Grinch, played by Jim Carrey, and then wild card, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
For me, I had box office Nightmare Before Christmas, drama action, I had Holdovers, comedy romance, I had Christmas Vacation, animation had Charlie Brown Christmas, iconic figure, I had Rudolph from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, scene from a non-Christmas movie, I had La La Land, and wild card, I had Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas Special.
For me, I had box office, I had Dr. Seuss The Grinch 2018. For drama action, I had Violent Night. For comedy romance, I had Four Christmases. For iconic figure, I had Jack Frost from the Santa Claus 3. For the non-Christmas scene movie, I had The Nice Guys. For animation, I had Arthur's Christmas. And for my wild card, I picked Eloise at Christmas Time.
Awesome. We shall see who wins. Well, thank you for listening. I had a fun time. Thanks for coming on, Madison. Hopefully you enjoyed the movies this week. Thanks for picking them out.
Of
And
course.
hopefully you had fun drafting.
I did. Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you all for listening. See you next week.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.